Hello there. Thank you for joining us. This is Nikki Devitt with the Petoskey Chamber, and I'm excited to be joined by Julie Garrett, who is the Public Affairs Specialist with the SBA Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. Julie, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me, Nikki.
Well, we want to go through a little bit of a high-level overview for everyone. Recently, the SBA has declared disaster assistance for particular counties who were impacted by the northern Michigan ice storms. And so we want to kind of understand what that is and what that means. So you've got a little presentation for us. So I'd love if you kind of walked us through.
Okay, I would love to. Right off the bat, I want to explain to people this is not FEMA, this is SBA. FEMA does grants for homeowners and renters. They don't really help businesses, so just be glad SBA is here. Your governor has applied for a FEMA declaration, and that's under consideration. And after it's been under consideration for a certain period, if they haven't come to a decision, your state can request what we call a rapid declaration. And so that's what this is. It gives you something to apply for while you're waiting to see if FEMA will help you. So we're here. And by the way, your area is so beautiful. I just love it. And we want to offer you low interest disaster loans. And it's very confusing because of our name, but in a disaster, we're helping businesses, homeowners, renters, and nonprofits. I'm going to target this information today to businesses since we're working with the chamber, but just know that if you know anyone who was a homeowner or renter who had their home or property damaged or lost their car to a tree strike, they can get help as well. Okay?
Perfect. And thank you so much for expanding on that, because I think it's really important for people to realize not just our businesses, but also our community as a whole, because we have so many businesses that we know that are looking for ways to help their employees as well who have gone through this. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, no worries. So the disaster loan program is to help you get back to where you were before the disaster. Oh, wait a second. I'm on slideshow and it's going too fast. There for your uninsured, uncompensated losses. So whatever isn't covered by your insurance, by your business interruption insurance, or if you didn't have insurance, you can apply for a disaster loan for those losses. The loans are direct from the U.S. Treasury, not a bank, and so the interest rate and the terms stay the same throughout the course of the loan. So what are the loan limits and what is available? For businesses, it's up to $2 million for your physical damages and your economic losses. That can include, like, let's say your power went out and you lost everything in your freezer or your refrigerator. That would be considered a physical loss, but it's for basically the repair or replacement of anything having to do with your real estate, your inventory, equipment, fixtures, leasehold improvements, furniture, anything like that that was damaged by the ice storm. If you apply for physical disaster loan, you're automatically considered for working capital as well. But you can apply for working capital even if you had no physical damage. Like for that period while the power was out, if people just weren't going out and your business really saw a loss and you're just down financially from that, you can apply for an economic injury disaster loan. You might have applied for that during COVID. This is a little bit different. It's a little bit harder to get these loans. There's more to the application process, but it's the same thing. And if you already have a COVID EIDL or you have that, you can apply for this as well. When you're applying for disaster loans, there's no limit to how many you can apply for. So then we have stuff. Yeah, that's
We had that question. If you already
yeah.
have an SBA loan, are you unable to apply for the specific disaster loan?
Nope, you can apply for as many disasters as you are affected by. They do look to make sure your previous loans are in good standing. That's important. But yeah, it doesn't matter if you already have loans, you can apply again. So for home loans, it's up to 500,000 for real estate, and for renters and homeowners, it's up to 100,000 for their personal property. And then on top of these loan amounts, you can add 20% of your total damage to add mitigation funding to your loan to make improvements to your property to make it safer for the future. So we can talk about that later. There is no collateral required for $50,000 for physical damages. Sorry, I don't know how to stop that. And 50,000 for economic injury. So that's really good. The interest rates are as low as 4% for businesses, 3.625% for nonprofits, and 2.75% for homeowners and renters. So let's see here. Yeah, I already talked about this, but basically I just want you guys to know it's very important where you are with this ice storm to know that you don't have to have physical loss to apply for economic injury from this incident. If your income went down and nobody was coming in and you had to close your doors while the power was out, you've had economic loss.
And so as you said, it covers, so even without the physical damage, that would also, does that cover payroll expenses as well?
Yes,
So if you were doing payroll, even though your employees couldn't come in because you couldn't operate, that's still a covered expense.
Yes, we
Perfect.
think of EIDL as the Keep the Business in Business loan. It's to help you meet your working capital expenses, like your monthly expenses, like payroll, rent, taxes, any of your revolving accounts, like that is all covered with an economic injury disaster loan. It's designed to give you working capital to keep paying your bills until things get better for you.
Perfect. Thank
Okay.
you.
So people always ask me, well, what about credit? What do I have to have for my credit rating? We don't get into that. I'm never told that actually. They just want to make sure you're eligible. You live in a declared county, your credit history is good enough, and you pay your bills. That's what they're looking at there. So here at the bottom, it says, if your loan is declined or withdrawn, they mean your application, you have 6 months to provide additional information. So as you're going through the process, if you get behind giving them information or whatever, just know that you have 6 months to keep your application going. So you might want to just start it no matter what in case you want it later on. So there are advantages to this program. A, the interest rates are really low. If you've already made repairs, you can use an SBA loan to pay off the disaster funded repairs on like a Lowe's credit card or Home Depot. So that can save you a ton on interest. There are no payments and no interest accrues for the first year. So that's really significant. Let's say you borrow $25,000 and you pay that back before 12 months, boom, no interest for that year. So that's good to know. There's no cost to apply, no prepayment penalty. The terms are up to 30 years. You don't have to accept the loan, and you can request a lower amount. You also can't go in and just say, I want X amount of money. SBA looks at your damage, they look at your economic loss, and they offer you funds. It's more like up to us than you for how much we'll offer, but then you get to decide whether to accept that or ask for a different amount. There's no collateral or closing costs for up to 50K. Let's see. Yeah, I told you about mitigation. We can cover deductibles. You can apply before your insurance settlement, and you can use the loan to refinance or relocate. That's more for a huge disaster like a hurricane where your place was just obliterated. I don't think it really applies to you. Economic injury, we've talked about that. Just this note at the bottom, you can't use those loans to expand your business. You can't use it to open a new location or something like that. You can talk to your loan officer for details. So here's the declaration. Cheboygan County is considered primary. That's usually the county where the damage was the worst. And all the counties that are around it are called contiguous. Because this is a smaller declaration, all of our loans are available in all of those counties, which is great because I've been driving around and I see damage all over the place. So I'm glad that you can all apply for this. And here's all the counties listed on the side. So the deadline dates to apply is August 8th for physical damage and March 9th of next year for economic injury. You get 9 months because they know it can take a while to fully figure out how much the disaster has impacted you financially. You can apply here at this link, and then I also put this direct link in right here. If you click this link, it will take you right to your declaration. You can apply right from that link. We also have centers open, and that's why we're doing this in such an unconventional way. Some of these centers are closing this Saturday. This one right here closes June 21st. So we're trying to get this information out to you as quickly as possible. So there's a center in Cheboygan County at the chamber. I will butcher the name of this, but it's at the sheriff's office. Right here in Harbor Springs for Emmet County, Gaylord for Otsego County, and Presque Isle, they say. I would say Presque Isle, but what do I know? Anyway, So this one is closing Saturday, so that's really important to know, as is this one closing Saturday, okay? So on the right. So just make sure if you live in those areas, you get there in time to get help if you need it. Just so you know, you can go to any center. You don't have to go to the one where you live. You just go to whatever is convenient for you. The people are super helpful there, very knowledgeable. They can help you put in your application and answer your questions. So once again, there's that link. I just want you to know that's the easiest way to apply. Just click on that link, okay? If you do want to go through our website, these screens show you how. I'm not going to spend time on them. It's pretty self-explanatory. When you click on that link I gave you, this is what it looks like. There's a map that will blow up. You can really look at it. And at the bottom of the page, there is a drop-down menu with documents. And this is really helpful. This fact sheet here at the top is where you're going to get all the details about the loan and also locations for assistance. So the center addresses will be there. So you just want to know about this. The bottom of the page under the document drop-down will be helpful info. This is the fact sheet. This is what it looks like. It's very dense. It has the interest rates, all the details, application dates, all that. There's your information. And then what you need to apply. Because we have people applying after a tornado has obliterated their home or their business, it's pretty easy to get your initial application, and they don't ask for a lot. It's like your contact information, your cell phone, social security number, or your EIN, and then the address of the business. So to start off, it's pretty easy. You just blah, 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 input your stuff. You have to make a portal like everywhere else these days. When you're doing something online, make sure you photograph your password and your username. So you get your initial application in, and then as they process it, they do this thing, they send you what they call service requests. And what that means is they're going to ask you for additional information, and they'll give you a time frame to supply that. You really want to keep up with that because your loan is moving along like a conveyor belt of loan processing, and they need that information to keep it clicking along. If you delay in getting them the info, they're going to pull your application out until you do send it and then put it back in the process. So you don't want to get out of line. You want to keep checking your portal. You want to supply that information. You want to keep on top of it. You can just go on your phone and check for it, maybe once a day and just see if you're getting messages, but stay on top of that. That's really important. So here's what's required. It's kind of like the basic stuff that you would have to supply for any loan. And then under here it says no outstanding federal debt. So you don't want to have unpaid taxes, child support, or to defaulted on a previous loan. If any of that's happening, you want to get on a payment plan before you apply with us. That's really important. And then if you've had another disaster loan, you have to maintain insurance. They want to make sure that their investment is protected. And so it's really important to do that. I told you this. These are our partners who can help you. All the services here are free. Here's a link to find the center nearest you. If you want free business consulting with SCORE or with SBDC, I encourage you to take advantage of those services. That's the link to find something. And that's all I have for you guys. I went super fast. I hope you don't have questions, but if you do, did I put my email address? No, I didn't. I can give it to you. It's just Julie, Julie .Garrett, GARRETT @SBA.gov. Or you can contact Nikki and she can get a hold of me. I'd be happy to help you. And like I said, those centers way back here, those are a really good bet for you guys while you have the option. Once we leave, it's really hard to get help with your loan unless you call our 800 number. It's just better in person. So if you need help, please come in. We'd love to help you. That's what I have, Nikki.
Julie, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time. It's so important just because kind of going through the overview really does help our businesses and our residents understand if this might be the right step for them. One question I had for you that I know we'll have is one of the things that everybody talks about in the recovery and the cost of a storm like this is the cleanup costs. So not the physical damage to the building, but the physical damage to the property, the trees down, and it costs up to $10,000 to cut down a couple trees that may or may not be leaning over your business or over your home. Is that part of that opportunity for a loan as well?
We've gotten that a lot since we've been out here. Here's the way it works. If you had trees down in your yard or around your business, like in the immediate area, that is covered with our loan. So it would be covered in terms of like the cleanup, debris removal, and replacing the tree, like planting a new tree. Definitely mention all that and apply for that. If you have a larger property, we have had a meeting with the FSA USDA. They have two programs that they have opened up to help people right now. They work for forested land an acre or more. I'll send Nikki the information so she has it. We have all the program information, who to contact. I'll send that to Nikki. I encourage you to reach out to her if trees are your issue because they can help you with that.
Perfect. Thank you, Julie. I was hoping you would tag that in because we know that there's a difference between, an acre or more, but we still have so many businesses and homeowners who really have struggled with that, the cleanup cost alone. So this is all fantastic. And I realize we're on a short time frame for that in-person consultation, but just to reiterate, as you said too, because you can utilize the contiguous counties as they stay open. We know Cheboygan County's location is going to stay open for that in-person one-on-one questioning until July 10th. So definitely get out there. Hopefully this little quick 101 is a good resource. And of course, the PDF and everything we'll have out there. And we're pushing this out to all of our counterparts across the coverage declared area so that we make sure everybody's got the resources they need.
That's great. Please share this widely. And I'm sorry I can't have you on to do a nice webinar and really answer all your questions and respond in the chat. But we wanted to get this out so quickly. We just met yesterday afternoon. So at least we're getting this out. I'm proud of us for doing that. And we really want to help you. We really have a heart for people who've gone through stuff like this. So please come and see us. We want to make these loans and we will do everything we can to help you get your application through successfully and to get you hooked up with some help.
Thank you, Julie, so much. And just grateful to the SBA for all the assistance and appreciate you sharing contact information, and mine's up there as well. So hopefully we both get lots of questions and can provide lots of answers. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Nikki. Bye, everybody.